Namaste and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Meera, and today I'll be talking about a form of classical Indian dance named Bharatanatyam. I'll be talking about how all of us have the power to change how Bharatanatyam is evolving. And before I begin into that, I'd like all of you to consider a word, a concept we're all probably very familiar with. I want you to think about the word change. Now, in our world, lots of things change, like people, seasons, technology, presidents, and change is what keeps things going. It's what keeps things interesting. Discussion of change spurs our thoughts, our contemplations, our ideas, our inventions. And we always are busy discussing change in our ever-changing world. But what we need to realize is that in the background, there's something else changing, really progressively, really quietly, but along with us nevertheless, and that something is art. Art is a mere reflection of us. What we like, what we don't like, what we want is what ends up becoming art. Think back to the last time you did some art. It might have been doodling during your history class, or the last painting you made for your mother on Mother's Day, or your last violin or piano lesson. And think about the thoughts and feelings you put into whatever you did. All of you, I'm sure, put something of your own, consciously or subconsciously, into what you were doing. And that's what makes all of us makers and thus appreciators of art. But the question is, can we change art? And by change art, I mean, can we change its path of evolution? Well, I know art has certainly changed my path of evolution. I used to be like any other 5-year-old kid. I was an ardent Barney fan. I used to watch Teletubbies quite frequently. I played with my dolls, chatted with my friends, and then came the day when I went to dance class. And I remember standing on my teacher's doorstep. I was rather grumpy, kind of angry, a little bit annoyed, because I was being taken to another Indian place where all of the other Indian kids went to do something all of the other Indian kids did. And little did I realize what an impact this Indian thing would have on me. And then my dance teacher opened the door. And when she opened the door, she literally and figuratively opened the doors of my world, because I had my first class and I realized that my body could be used for something other than walking, eating, or sleeping. It could be used to express great concepts, profound ideas, and arouse emotion in my audience. And now looking back, I can hardly believe that I was the kid who used to pick her nose and go to sleep during dance performances. And that leads me to wonder, if Bharatanatyam has had the power to change me as an individual so significantly, do I exert that same force, that same power over Bharatanatyam itself? Well, if I think Bharatanatyam has impacted me significantly, Bharatanatyam itself has evolved quite drastically over the years. Historians speculate it began as a temple tradition. Dancers used to dance as an offering to the Lord. It was a form of prayer. And because of this, Bharatanatyam has a lot of mythological and spiritual references. Over time, with foreign invasions and rule, the art form had its own ups and downs, evolving to its current place on the proscenium stage. Okay, so we know what Bharatanatyam is like now. But its future is but a question mark. And we are going to determine what shape that question mark is going to take. Now you might ask, how are we going to determine the shape of this question mark? Well, over the years, after a lot of watching, I have realized that we indeed have the same power to change Bharatanatyam, just as it has the power to change us. let me talk to you about something I like to call the cycle. It begins with the audience and how much we know, how much is up here, I guess. For example, let's say I went to the American Ballet Theater with a lot of friends who were ballet dancers themselves. All of us know a lot about ballet. We know a lot about the reputation of the ABT. And because we know a lot, we have high expectations of what we see on the stage. We're not expecting to see a little kid jump up and do the hokey pokey and everybody goes, "Yay, the show is done, go home." No, we expect something really good because we know something, right? And because we know, the performer is thus encouraged and compelled to deliver up to our high expectations. And when the performer delivers, the art form retains its integrity. It retains all of those nitty-gritty details and all of those nuances that make it what it is. Now, what's happening in the Bharatanatyam world is that audiences have become really diverse. And because of this, the knowledge they have has also become a little compromised. And so the expectations the audience has become just a teeny bit lower, and so the performers are delivering a teeny bit less, leading to the loss of just one or two nuances, with every few years of the art form. Like how I said before, art is something that changes progressively. So Bharatanatyam, as it progresses, if this cycle keeps occurring, then eventually it's going to look completely different from what it looks like today. And it's up to us to ensure that what it looks like in the future is something that we can still call Bharatanatyam. And this holds true with any art form, be it ballet, Chinese classical music, or flamenco, or anything. The audience has to have high expectations. The audience has to know in order for the art form to survive and flourish. Now I'm going to transition and tell you a little bit about the practical aspects of Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam has two elements, the first being nritta, or physical movements. You'll see a lot of this in my performance, so I'll move on to abhinaya, which is expression. Bharatanatyam is unique in that we can express a lot of concepts and ideas through use of hand gestures as well as facial expressions. For example, I could depict a flower, and I could also show rain. And then I could say, "Wow, it's raining a lot today, and look at that flower. It's so beautiful." And thus, I can express a complete thought just by using gestures. I can endow a gesture with different meanings. For example, I could say, "You." I can also say, "You." Then I can say, "You." And thus, it's the same hand gesture, but I'm able to communicate a whole range of expressions. And that's what makes Bharatanatyam really unique. It's that power to express. And the hallmark of a good artist is being able to make the audience feel whatever he or she is feeling. Now, I could go on to you about this for the whole day, but we only have so much time together. And before I leave, I'd like to leave you with this thought. By virtue of coming to this conference, you're already doing your part. You're already choosing to know and learn. But you can take it further. When you go home, I encourage you to search up or YouTube a classical art form you don't normally look at, like maybe Bharatanatyam, maybe flamenco, something you really don't know much about, and watch videos, get to know more, set high expectations, and demand great things out of your performers, because then you can ensure the art form's integrity and ensure that it continues to flourish. Thank you. And now I'd like to proceed on to my performance. Tonight I'll be doing a performance which consists mostly of nritta, the first aspect I talked about. At the end of what I'm doing, there will be a little bit of abhinaya about the Lord Krishna, who's believed to be an avatar of the Lord Vishnu, and how he fought the snake Kalia. This item is a tilana. It's in ragam or scale suruti. It's set to a rhythmic cycle of 8 beats, also called aditalam. The music composition is by Uttukada Venkata Subayar, and I have choreographed it. Thank you and hope you enjoy.
Direi ye tene tom te direi na